What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode, Roof to Live. We got a full roof replacement for you guys today, and none of that before and after stuff. Today we've got some live action, and we're actually going to take you through the entire process today on this episode. You guys are going to get to see the old roof, the tear off, any rotted plywood getting installed, felt paper installed, ice and water, the whole 9 yards. Even got some ISO board and TPO on this one. So let's take you guys up here, get a little shot of this tear off. The guys are already starting to bang this one out. Y'all already know. So over here you guys can see the old roof. This one honestly isn't so much of deterioration as it was a bad install. Not talking bad about the last people, but you can see that it doesn't look like these vents were changed during the last roof replacement. I don't know, they could have maybe at least spray painted them to try and prevent some of that corrosion, rust from building up. On our ridge cap, we use a 3-tab shingle or a hip and ridge. And even up here, the guys are tearing it off now, but they even used architectural shingles on the ridge cap. Another thing is where they've already got the shingles torn off in this area. Well, I was just about to say we're suspecting some rotted plywood. Not suspicion anymore. It's certain. No, nothing to suspect. It was definitely rotted. This area was leaking inside, actually into the customer's closet, and honestly ruined her closet. So that was what led up to several other findings of checking this roof out. Was that that initial leak. And we got up here, took a look at things, kind of realized the extent of what was really going on, and that's when we found everything else. So another thing is, you can see this slope here. You guys might not be able to tell in person, but this slope is dang near flat. I mean, it might be a 112, and I mean, really, you shouldn't shingle anything less than like a 3.5 on 12 pitch. We say 3 on 12 worst case scenario. So this add-on right here and this add-on over here to the right, we're gonna install fiberboard or ISO board and TPO, and you'll get to see that too, because that's the correct way to do flat roofing, is to use a flat roofing product. You know, TPO, EPDM. We've opted to use TPO for this customer. We did some price comparisons, and that's what the customer opted to go with based on some of our feedback and advice with different price comparisons. So so that's really about it. I think I've given you guys a pretty good overview. So you'll get to see this one kind of transform a lot better than the couple on the channel where it's just been before and after. So we're gonna get back to banging out this this tear off. We'll get down to the bare plywood, see what we need to replace, get some ice and water and felt started, and get the re-roof application back going. So we'll check you guys in a minute. All right, guys, back at it up on the roof. As you can see behind me, everything's been stripped. The guys are kind of finishing, getting those last last few nails that didn't come out with the shingles and the felt removed with the shingle shovels behind me. So just making sure we got a good clean surface to mate with and go back on with new shingles and our ice and water. Obviously our drip edge, you know, the whole 9 yards. But I just want to show you guys a little bit of damage that occurred from an incorrect installation in one of the transitions on this roof. And also just kind of show you, again, along the way, you know, now we've got everything scraped off. You can see down to the bare decking and kind of show you what we look for in terms of, you know, finding further problems or the reason why we strip it down to the deck like this. So let me kind of spin you guys around, pan around. So we got a little bit of trash left to get, but for the most part, we've got most of this thing scraped. Just gonna kind of walk around and show you guys everything. This is that transition where the customer was having the problem, and I'm definitely gonna point that out. It's going to be very obvious when I get to it. So all the other decking on this roof actually looked good. So no other soft spots. And this being OSB, it would definitely be very easy to find. OSB is basically a bunch of different wood particles glued into a piece of plywood. And you can kind of see all the different chips, you know, all the different fibers where it was pressed in and glued together. Well, what happens is as soon as this OSB gets wet one time, that's it, it's ruined. It starts deteriorating. The glue starts coming apart from the wood particles and it just rots really quickly. Unlike plywood, plywood is actually going to have, you know, some water deterrence to it. You know, it's not going to be affected by a little bit of moisture. You know, over time it definitely will. It will still rot, but this OSB stuff will rot a whole lot quicker than a piece of actual plywood. So this was the main area of concern, guys. As you can see, it's not going to be easy. I mean, it's not going to be hard to see the problem. So this area right here is just horrible, horrible, horrible. And again, you know, not talking bad about anybody else, but this is the importance of making sure you find the right roofer, somebody that's reputable, somebody who actually knows what they're doing up here. And I'm going to walk you through what caused this and what we're going to do to prevent it, which is just, you know, it's very simple, but it wasn't something that was done. So along this transition right here, where this transition of this add-on meets this decking right here, there was supposed to be pieces of step flashing stacked on top of each other from the bottom of this slope all the way up to this transition. Okay, and what that does is every time it rains, you know, shingles aren't waterproof. You know, the shingle itself isn't going to leak, but the way they're installed, you know, it's not a waterproof system. If you come into a flat area, shingles are made to deter water and repel it and redirect it off of, you know, the bottom of a slope so it runs off of the actual roof. So, you know, a shingle roof is not actually waterproof if it's shingled in a flat area, but a shingle roof should be waterproof if it's installed the correct way. I hope that makes sense for you guys. So again, this didn't have any step flashing, guys. We didn't see one piece, literally none. There was no counter flashing, nothing bent on a break, no step flashing at all, and that's what caused this. And not only did it cause this OSB, you know, to rot in this area, but it made its way into this customer's closet very quickly and unfortunately ruined the entire closet. So the entire closet's gonna have to be rebuilt as soon as we're done doing the roof. So just a really unfortunate occurrence. And you know, I hate it for this customer. So I really can't stress the importance of, you know, finding somebody reputable that knows what they're doing up here on the roof, and just doing things the right way. You know, this also goes hand in hand with, you know, cheaper is usually not better. So, you know, if you yourself are in a situation where you're looking at getting a couple different roof quotes, you know, check out the itemized breakdown and compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges, and really see what one's offering versus the other. And don't be afraid to ask questions, guys. That's the importance of you know, doing a home project like this. I mean, you know, theoretically, in a perfect world, we install 30-year shingles. They may not quite last 30 years. You know, the life of the shingle is supposed to, in perfect conditions, you know, you may get 25, but the point of this conversation is we want you to get as many years out of the shingle as possible, because for one, it's expensive, and if it's meant to last that long to begin with, you know, why save a few $100s going with somebody cheaper when it's going to shave, you know, 5, 10, 15 years off of the roof because you didn't go with the right company. So, you know, not trying to beat a dead horse with that, but it's just these little things. I mean, that step flashing was probably, by the time we do both sides and you know, add everything up correctly, I mean, you're probably talking an additional $250 in materials. And perfect example, that $250 might have been the make it or break it between the other estimate. I don't know. I'm not saying that's the particular case. I'm just saying don't always go with the cheaper person just because of price. This is one of the most important assets of your home, is the protection of your roof, because everything else that's important in your house is below it. So if it leaks, everything else is getting ruined. And it's not a good day when you get a roof leak, because they don't ever get better. They don't ever stop. They don't ever get better. They always get worse. So not a good thing, guys. So our goal is to, you know, prevent as many issues, as many mistakes on our part from happening, and try to educate the homeowner as best we can into, you know, preventing these issues for you guys as well. So that's one of the main reasons we started this channel, is to try to prevent problems for you guys that are watching. So I'm gonna wrap things up here for a few minutes until we start to put our ice and water on the perimeter, our step flashing, starter shingles. You know, we'll start the TPO process with the fiberboard. But I'll pick up here in just a few minutes, and you guys will see that process here in just a little bit. All right, we'll catch you in a few. All right, guys, a little bit of an update. I'm gonna spin this around and show you that area that was deteriorated with that plywood, where that transition is, and kind of show you more of what we found when we pulled that piece of plywood off. So it may be hard for you guys to tell, but when we pulled this piece of plywood off, we noticed that this supporting beam right here on this transition was literally not attached to anything. It was just floating. And that is no bueno. So the guys are getting ready to frame up a couple pieces to reattach this support on the end of this transition, so it actually has support, and we can lay our plywood correctly around it and go ahead and lay the step flashing like I was talking about previously a couple minutes ago. So I'll catch you up in a couple minutes once we get some of this framing done and kind of show you what we're doing to fix the issue. All right, guys, so here's a little check-in on what we did to fix that area, that transition where that customer had those water intrusion problems. So I'm gonna spin this around and kind of take you a little bit closer and kind of explain what we did. So one thing is, when we removed this plywood, like I said, there was nothing there. There was nothing supporting this this 2x6 on the end of this transition. And the roof trusses, or lack of a better wording for these mobile homes and manufactured homes, these trusses are usually 2x4s on a stick-built home, and these are like 1x2s. Kind of stick my camera in there and see if you guys can see. So they're not very big at all. They're not a 2x4. They're a 1x2, and they're also, from truss to truss, the span on these is 24 inches, where a standard home is 16 inches. So the span from one truss to the next, that's what I'm talking about, is usually 16 inches on center on a stick-built home, and this guy here is 24 inches on center. So a lot bigger gap between the supporting truss here. So like I said, standard home once again is about 16 inches on center. So the supports are a lot closer. This is 24. And what we did is from one truss to the next, everywhere you see one of these chalk lines, we added 2x4s. So this is actually stronger than the rest of the home. So every one of these chalk lines has a 2x4 connecting these trusses. And we made sure we put one here to the bottom of this 2x6, and this is angular cut, right? And we also put another one right here at the top of this 2x6. So this 2x6 is gonna have plenty of support. It's not sagging anymore. It's not moving like it was on the edge. And we used 21 degree 3 1/4 inch framing nails to secure all this together. So I can assure you that this right here that I'm walking on is a whole lot stronger than the rest of the roof decking and the rest of this roof. If I was doing this, you know, right beside here on this OSB, you would see it flex. There's no flex at all as I'm walking on this. So this is going to be much stronger, and it's going to be a whole lot better. It's a unfortunate situation, but we're fixing it right, and we're about to lay the rest of that plywood right there and keep banging away. So I'll update you guys here again in a couple minutes. All right guys, just a little update for you. So I'm going to show you another upgrade we're doing for this particular home. So normally this stuff right here is called synthetic felt. It's a lot better than the old standard like 5-pound felt, 10-pound felt. And usually, you know, on a normal roof, we just run this over all the decking, over the entire surface before we run our shingles. But this house is really close to the beach. I want to say we're like 3 miles from Holden Beach, and you know, a lot of times, you know, we're real close. We get storms. Even strong thunderstorms can produce quite a bit of wind because we're real close to the ocean. So what we've done is we've opted to put an ice and water shield layer all the way around the entire perimeter of the home. So all the way around. Obviously we haven't got to this this flat section yet, but you can see we've done ice and water all along the edge. Where he's standing on ice and water, and then we're running our synthetic felt on the inside areas of this home. So all this is still going to be completely covered, but the upgrade that I'm pointing out is this ice and water shield barrier along the entire perimeter. And what that's going to do is it's going to provide an extra waterproof juncture or barrier. And if any shingles on the edge do start to lift up from any kind of heavy winds, it's going to prevent water intrusion along the edges, or the eaves and rakes rather, all along the perimeter, the outside edge of this house. So that was one upgrade that we opted to do, and we included in our estimate for the homeowner, just because it's a good idea. Again, you know, these are small upgrades that, you know, you want this roof to last 25 years. I know we definitely do for the homeowner, and I'm sure, you know, with the expense of a new roof, they're hoping for the same thing, right? So, you know, you could throw a couple $100 in here and there for extra materials here and there. It's going to help provide, you know, a little bit more longevity, and just ensure that this roof does actually last closer to, you know, the full life expectancy, you know, that a normal roof would, right? Or in a normal area inland rather. So you know, we're going with the architectural shingle. You know, obviously, like we talked before on previous episodes, you know, in a perfect world that should last around 30 years. So we're trying to ensure this homeowner gets as close to that as possible. So over here we even added a piece of ice and water up under the last supporting beam on this transition under this 2x6. So before we nail that 2x6 in place, we slid our ice and water up under that 2x6. And you know, just little things. Again, we're all about the little things. We take our time. You know, we're not going to be the cheapest around, but there's a reason for it. Do you want it done right, or do you want the cheapest person, you know, to do it right now? And our version is, you know, we're definitely not going to be the most expensive. We're not going to be the cheapest because we do things right. But we're going to give you a good quality product and a good value and bang for your buck for your money. So so one last thing, I believe I pointed this out already, but I'm just going to say it again. So, you know, this roof has OSB on it, and everywhere we're doing repairs or replacing wood, you know, standard operation in the roofing world is just to go back with what was originally there, right? So just go back with OSB, but not us. So anytime we're doing a repair, we're going to upgrade. It's only a couple of extra dollars more, and it's a lot better product. It's a lot stronger, and we're going back with plywood, actual real plywood. So just one more thing I wanted to point out and mention while we're up here. So that's pretty much it, guys. I will update you here in a few when we move along to our next step, but we're moving along, banging this one out, and can't wait for you guys to see the finished product. It's going to be pretty cool, especially when we get into some ISO board over here and TPO, you know, on both of these add-ons and additions to the home. It's going to be a nice finished product, and I'm excited to show it to you guys. So we'll catch back up in a few and move along from here. All right, guys, so you can see we're putting our starter strip down, and then we're already laying some shingles on top, but I just want to show you guys our starter strip before we put our shingles down so you know what that looks like as well. So this right here is our starter strip, and that goes down around the entire perimeter before we lay shingles. And obviously those guys are banging out some shingles as we speak. So I'm gonna go down here so you guys can kind of hear me, and I'm not bothering them working either. So I'll spin you around again. We've got a majority of the roof dried in with our ice and water shield around the perimeter, and then our felt in the middle, our Rhino synthetic felt. I'm gonna pan around and let you guys see. Obviously, besides this this addition or this add-on, because we've got to finish laying our plywood before we dry that in, but you can see all the way over there. We've got the rest of the roof dried in with our ice and water and felt. So things are moving right along. They're already laying shingles, and we'll catch you here in a couple minutes when we move on to our next step and get some footage of this this addition dried in and the plywood installed, and keep moving. So we'll catch you here in just a few. All right, guys, got a big update for you. As you can see, we are working away. Definitely some action getting done now. We're moving along pretty quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around and kind of show you what we've got accomplished and show you where we are, kind of tell you our steps from here. So as you can see, we got quite a few shingles laid already on this side, on this slope. This side over here, obviously you guys seen that, you know, a little bit ago. We already had that dried in. So we ran our shingles over this ridge cap, but at the very end you'll see where we cut this this ridge vent section and install our ridge ventilation system. So I'll show you guys that along here as well when we get a little bit closer to that side. So these flat sections right here, if you guys remember, these had shingles on them, and it's too shallow of a pitch to have shingles. Same thing over here where he's standing. So this is where I was telling you guys we're getting ready to install TPO, and they've already got the ISO board in, or some people call it fiber board, over where he's standing. We got the plates and screws to secure the fiber board in. They're still working on this side over here, this section. But if you guys remember, this is where we were having that major problem last time, or not us, but you know, the homeowner was having this major issue here before. So a piece of vinyl siding, finishing siding, will cover that 2x6 right there, so you won't see that at the end. And this is the area where the customer was having a lot of major concern, and this isn't finished, guys. This is just, you know, I'm showing you steps along the way, but I just wanted to show you we've got our step flashing here, and you know, when everything's finished and the finishing siding's covering that, you won't really be able to see much of that step flashing. But we got it step flash. Everything's good. We got the got our plywood installed up here. Up here rather. This is the other piece that was rotten. So you can see once again we did plywood instead of OSB. So got our plywood installed. Got that all dried in. Got Rhino felt covering it. They already started laying the fiberboard as we said. I don't know if you guys can hear that radio in the background. They're jamming. Got the music going today. I'm gonna show you this side as well a little bit. So this slope right here is pretty much finished. There's not a lot left to do. Got a 750 vent on both sides. Got our new pipe boot installed. Got our step flashing right here. Same thing on this side. You got to duplicate everything we're doing on that side on this side. So you can see the step flashings installed in place. So this customer shouldn't have any more leaks, and this roof should last a long time because we're taking all the necessary steps to do this one right. So I'm gonna pick back up in a few more minutes when we start laying TPO and finish working on some shingles and get a little bit more footage of the steps along the way. But just another update, guys, and we'll catch up with you here in just a few more minutes. All right, guys, moving right along here. So we got most of the house shingled. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll take it up a little bit, take the camera up a little bit. Most of the house is shingled. I'm gonna turn it around and show you the progress we've made on both slopes, and show you the holes we cut for the ridge vent too, the ridge ventilation system. So as you can see over here, the guys are laying out the TPO, getting ready to get it cut to go on top of all this ISO board, fiber board. And this right here is what I was telling you guys. So we cut a hole on the ridge, and we've got a piece of ridge vent that goes over here, and it vents on both sides. So air comes up out of the attic space and exhausts on both sides of that ridge. And you'll see when we get that ridge cap on there, when we get the ridge cap on there and the ridge cap shingles, or the ridge vent rather, and the ridge cap shingles, you'll see that you'll see the finished product there. But anyways, that's the hole that's cut. It's about probably about 1.5 inches wide. Kind of use my finger for reference. And that's what's going to keep this attic space nice and cool. Or, you know, sometimes people call this an attic. On these mobile homes or manufactured homes, there's not necessarily an accessible attic space, but there is still a dead space between the ceiling and the roof. So, you know, that still creates heat, and heat builds up, and really heat soaks the inside of the house. So as much as this heat right here we can get out of that dead space or attic space, the better for the homeowner and the cooler it'll be. So over here, same thing. They're getting ready to cut the TPO and put the TPO on. He's working on laying the ridge cap as we speak. And next you'll see their actual ridge vent going on. So I'll catch you guys up in a couple minutes when we start doing that, and you'll get to see a little bit of the TPO footage as well. So we'll catch you guys here in just a second. All right, guys, moving along again. I'm gonna turn this around and give you guys another update real quick. They're laying down the TPO. Right now they're putting down glue. I told you guys I'd give you an update on this ridge ventilation system. My guys down here jamming. Let's see. So down here I'm going to show you guys what a bare piece of ridge vent looks like. So this is the ridge vent that we install on top of that gap that we cut out right here. And this is what I was showing you guys. It vents on this side and on this side. And when he gets to it, you can see he's down there putting down the actual ridge cap now. So he's just layering those on top of each other to keep everything nice and waterproof. This is what it looks like when it's finished. Nice covered ridge cap on top of that ridge vent. So we got to finish the TPO on this side. He's going to finish the ridge vent, or the ridge cap on the ridge vent, and then we got to do TPO on this side, and we'll be wrapping this one up, guys. So I'm going to catch you back here in a few minutes, and we'll have this thing wrapped up and finished, and then I'll do a walkthrough, and this one will be knocked out, it'll be banged out. So we'll catch you here in just a couple minutes. All right, guys, final update here. We are finished with this project, and it feels good. This one ran a little bit over the timeline we anticipated. Ran into a few small things that you know, we didn't quite know were going to be an issue. We knew more than likely we'd have a little bit of rotted plywood, but we didn't expect to find a truss that was floating. Obviously, you guys seen that a couple minutes ago, but got a lot of updates about the project. I'm going to show you what we did, everything we did to complete it. I'm going to call it the color of this shingle, so in case any of those viewers at home, you know, may want to go with a similar color, you'll know what this is. I think that's important. You know, a lot of times homeowners have trouble picking that final shingle color. You want it to match your house, maybe your shutters, maybe the paint, the siding. But even sometimes online on those samples, and those computer samples, when you pull them up, the digital version of the samples online, it doesn't show a true in-person color of what these colors actually look like on a roof, like laid, you know, in person. So definitely get some footage and point out the color. I'll show you some pipe boots, just go over the details of what we did on this one. So I'm gonna spin you guys around here. So I'll start off in this corner over here. So this is a lead pipe boot, okay? And the reason that you'll notice that we use different pipe boots on this roof is whoever did the plumbing, or maybe somebody did a plumbing repair along the way, cut this PVC pipe for the plumbing vent too short through the roof. So usually they'd be about where my hand is, so another, you know, 3-4 inches. Well, that presents a problem for us roofers because our pipe boot has some depth to it. So if we tried to put a standard plastic pipe boot on here, the pipe boot seal may be above where the actual PVC pipe comes out of the roof, and therefore it would do absolutely nothing. So these lead pipe boots are made to where you can cut them to fit. Okay, they've got a shorter profile, so you can see the base is flat all the way around where it seals over that PVC pipe, and then you cut it to fit and you tuck in your excess inside of the PVC pipe. So that was an alternative, what we had to do with a pipe boot on this roof. No big deal, you know, we're used to it. It's just, you know, if you're wondering why there's different types of pipe boots on this roof, now you know why. So that was the answer to that. You guys will hear me beat this one to a pulp in every single video. Sealed nail heads, both of them sealed. All right, here's our ridge cap finishing shingle. Sealed nail heads. Kind of spin you around, let you see some of this slope. Obviously you can see a little bit of the ridge cap done on the ridge vent itself. I love these OC shingles, guys. This is the Oak Ridge series. Customer picked Desert Tan, so that's what this color is. So again, Owens Corning Oak Ridge series Desert Tan color. And I know you should be able to see this, you should pick it up in the video, that these shingles they just look really elegant and professional. You just kind of see along the area of where I'm, you know, kind of pointing to, there's different tones that just pop. It's not just one solid color. Maybe some people at home, you might not like that, but I feel like it gives a little bit more of that professional look. And that's just one of the reasons that we go with the Owens Corning brand of shingles. You know, there's other reasons that I have. It's just my personal preference. I'm not saying that they're the best. I'm not downing other brands of shingles. I've had really good luck with the Owens Corning brand, and their customer service is top notch. Anytime we've ever had a small issue, maybe some imperfection in the shingles, maybe we got 2 different batch numbers, you know, so the dye of the shingle or the granules might be a slightly different color, no problem. They picked right back up on it, fixed the problem, fixed the issue. Bam, we're back in business, you know, laying down our our color matching shingles. So I'll try to get a span. We'll walk this whole roof, kind of show you guys the rest of it. All right, we had to put a brand new 750 vent here. If you remember earlier in the video, some of the old roof footage, these were all rusted and just deteriorated really bad. So anytime we have the opportunity to replace, you know, anything that's a roof penetration or anything to cover a roof penetration, we're going to always opt to go with new if we can. And you know, that's our goal. Obviously this customer is paying for a new roof. We want them to get as many new products with this roof as possible. All right, we'll go back over here a little bit. So this is the area of concern during about, you know, the middle of the project, halfway through, where I showed you guys, you know, all of this right here, all the way down to the bottom of the slope, all the way up in this area was just rotted. The previous roofing company didn't install any step flashing. There wasn't any counter flashing. There was nothing, you know, bent on a break. There's no flashing at all. Horrible experience for this customer. I don't know if she ended up purchasing this property like this, or maybe it was re-roofed in the past while they were the owners, or, you know, under ownership of the current owner. But either way, it was a big problem. As I mentioned before, they're having to redo the entire closet inside because of this roof leak. And again, this roof has OSB on it, so as soon as it gets wet, you know, one time, that OSB is just ruined. So, you know, I included all the video earlier in this video of where we repaired that area. We opted to go with 2x4s in this whole area of this truss, connecting the trusses, instead of the 1x2s that were originally used to build or manufacture this single wide or this manufactured home. And we also opted to use real plywood instead of OSB for all the repairs we did, all in this area. You know, obviously you guys seen that, pointed it out right here under some of this TPO. So we, you know, leave things better than we found. Give the customer an upgrade. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to do it while we're fixing an issue. We want it to be done right. We don't want this customer to have any issues. They've been through enough, dealt with enough headaches already. You know, the way I see it, our job is to come in and take care of the customer as best as possible, and have this roof last as close to 30 years as possible as well. So you'll be able to see a little bit of our step flashing. And this is black layer right here, all along where my finger is, underneath this siding. And I told you guys you wouldn't be able to see much of it when we were done because of the drip edge from the TPO installation on this flat roof, and because of the fascia. The fascia covers, that vinyl fascia covers the drip edge. So, you know, everything is nice and sealed, nice and watertight, aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and functional most of all. We want it to be waterproof, right? That's the main thing. So moving along here, this is TPO. This is made for flat roofing applications. This is used in a lot of commercial applications. A lot of commercial buildings use TPO. It's a really good product. What you do is you tear off your original layer, whatever that may be. In this case, it was shingles. You know, inspect your plywood for rotted plywood. Make sure all the plywood's good. We opted to go for a break layer of synthetic felt on top of the plywood. Then we installed our ISO board on top of that. Then we installed our plates and screws to secure the ISO board in place. Then we installed glue, TPO glue, over the ISO board. Some people call it fiberboard. And then this TPO gets glued to the fiberboard, and our seams are welded. So this is a seam right here, and it was all welded in place. This is just a little bit of glue. It'll dry. It got squeezed out from this cover tape. So these TPO roofs, if you do them the correct way, they're very durable. They last a long time. I'm just gonna get you guys a shot. You know, there's not really much downside to a TPO roof besides the seams, obviously. You know, eventually, long term, those can deteriorate and cause an issue, but usually that's, you know, way on down the road. So that's our goal, is to get a good weld, get a good glue application, get this as flat as possible. You're not going to get every single little wrinkle or bubble out of these TPO roofs. Some long-term curing from the sun will dry some of these small wrinkles and just kind of pull everything nice and flat. It'll lay down nice and flat. But you're not going to get it, you know, a TPO roof, you're not going to get it just, you know, over the top perfect with no little bubbles, no wrinkles. Of course, we do what we can with our roller to roll it flat and roll it smooth and get as much air out as we can, because, you know, the main thing is functionality, but we also want it to be aesthetically pleasing as well. So there's the TPO roof. Kind of walk back to this corner, show you guys that. All right, another thing we did is, you know, a lot of times in this seam right here where the TPO or any kind of flat roofing material, even if it's metal, meets this slope, a lot of times you have leaks right there. That's an area of concern for water intrusion. So we ran the TPO up a couple of these shingles underneath and then laid shingles on top. So when the water hits the top of this slope, it rolls down the shingles onto the TPO and then off the back of the slope over on the ground. And that's just one way we can ensure that this seam, you know, stays watertight for the customer. So one thing I forgot to mention is when you're finished laying down your TPO, you put drip edge over top. See, this is drip edge right here, and this comes back all the way to about here. You can actually see the seam, and then you put cover tape on the TPO, and then the cover tape covers the TPO and the drip edge, so it makes that one seamless, you know, seal and keeps that nice and waterproof and watertight as well. So that's what we did all the way around the perimeter of this TPO roof. We got cover tape to meet the drip edge and TPO. And then again, it's a little more sunny on this side of the roof, so you can see that black up under there. That's all of our step flashing behind that piece of fascia, and that's what's going to keep these terminating slopes waterproof and watertight. We talked on the previous video, hopefully you guys can see it's a little shaded in this area. Those mushroom vents are hard to come by, and when you buy new ones, they don't always fit like the factory ones. So we always look to see if the measurements of the new ones are going to be, you know, nice and precise. Usually they're not. We have a lot of trouble with mushroom vents when we try to replace them with newly manufactured ones. So in this case, like the majority of the time, we basically, you know, revitalize that mushroom vent with a nice coat of spray paint. We try to make it, you know, as color matched as possible to some of the other venting options. That's a black spray paint. We put a couple layers on there to try and prevent rust and corrosion. And again, it's just one more thing we can do to try to make the roof look aesthetically pleasing. If we would have got a new one, I wasn't 100% confident that it would have covered the inside diameter of the piping that was penetrating the roof correctly, and it's a possible leak concern. So we always want to go with a safe bet. You know, it doesn't look exactly like a brand new one, but it's very close. We spray painted it, and also it was in really good shape besides being, you know, a little bit of surface rust on the vent itself. But we took care of that with some anti-corrosion paint, put a couple layers on there, so it shouldn't have any problems. That's good to go. It looks a lot better than it did. It's not rusted. Again, you know, most people aren't going to be up here looking at their roof, looking at the aesthetic, you know, eye-pleasing view of a roof, but it's the project is beautiful to us. We take pride in our work. We want things to look as good as possible. So anything we can do, the little things, you'll hear me preach and harp on the little things. All right, another finishing shingle, sealed nail heads. All right, kind of span out over the entire roof here. Another new 750 vent here. Another new 750 vent here. Brand new pipe boot. Sealed nail heads. And that's the end of this slope, guys. We'll get a little bit more footage of the TPO on this side. But besides that, this is it. She's finished. All right, there's the TPO. can see our seam tape there. Here is our welded seam. Everything's nice and watertight there. Ran seam tape all around the perimeter. That's it. I'm gonna turn around and get one more shot, and that's gonna kind of conclude this roof, guys. All right, that's it. Another one knocked out, banged out, and in the books. Y'all know how we do it. We try to get them in, turn and burn, get them done as quickly as possible with the most appropriate, correct installation time. If we have to slow down the project a little bit to make sure things are done right, that's what we're gonna do. In this case, we did that. We took about an extra day or two to get everything nice and completed. It's not ideal for us and other customers on the books. Most people are understanding, and including the current homeowners of the projects you're completing. You know, they're paying a lot of money. They want things done right. I don't see the need in trying to rush something. I'd much rather take an extra day or two to make sure it's done right, especially in the case of what we ran into back here with this rotted plywood and that floating truss. You know, we framed it incorrectly. Everything's good now. Everything's new. Everything that needed to be replaced was replaced with new. Everything we promised in our estimate has been done and completed. And I hope the customer enjoys the shingle color, and I hope they get a chance to watch this video. I think they will. And we like the shingle color a lot, and I hope they will too. The tones and textures in these Owens Corning shingles, again, they're really nice, elegant, and professional. So you know the deal, guys. If you need anything, you know who to call. Nailed It Roofing and Repair, 910-824-5563. Once again, it's Nailed It Roofing and Repair, 910-824-5563. We're based out of Ocean Isle Beach, have an office in Ocean Isle Beach, an office in Fayetteville. So we cover, you know, Fayetteville, Southern Pines, Spring Lake, Sanford, any of the surrounding territory. Obviously our office out of Ocean Isle Beach covers Ocean Isle Beach, Calabash, Shallotte, Holden Beach, Sunset Beach, Supply. We go into Little River, North Myrtle Beach, Myrtle Beach. We've even went into Surfside Beach, Conway. We go north as well into Wilmington, Oak Island, North Topsail Beach, Surf City. So we got a really good span of territory that we cover. Be glad to help you with a project if we can. So if you're watching this and you need an estimate, feel free to reach out, give us a call. If for some crazy reason I don't pick up, shoot us a text message, leave a voicemail. I'll be glad to get back with you just as soon as I can. I'm more than likely missed you because I'm with a current customer helping them out or helping the guys with the current project. So again, if we can help you, give us a shout, text us, call us, email us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification on the top right so you can stay current on all these videos. And again, we want to educate the homeowner in our videos as well. So if there's anything we can show you and teach you, you know we're going to do it. So that's it, guys. I'm going to end this video. I think I've talked enough, and we got a lot of footage on this one. Probably ran it a little bit longer than I'd like, but at the same time, there was a lot to this roof, and I haven't got a chance to, you know, include an entire transformation from start to finish. And this one was the one to do it. We ran into some issues. Perfect for footage documentation. And again, I'm sure this customer will really appreciate the fact that he or she gets to see the total transformation and all the repairs that we made and all the little details, you know, pointing out everything. So over and out, guys. Roof to Live. You know who to call if you need something. Give us a shout, like, follow, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. If you're doing it right.